Boston Celtics, I mean, a lot of sentiment that this team will be back in the finals again very soon. Looking at their offseason, Colin, I mean, who's a free agent that they should be looking at?
Yeah, they're not going to have much room. A lot of these top teams just don't have the money to spend because they're putting so much into their top players. But they'll have the mid-level, they'll have minimum salaries. One guy I'm looking at, again, not a huge name, but a guy like TJ Warren, who, hasn't played over the last season plus because of injuries. Last time he played, he was really, really good. A 20-point-a-game scorer who could knock down three-pointers at a high level. That's exactly what the Celtics need. They obviously need some sort of ball handler. It was clear they were turning the ball over like crazy. I don't know if that's going to be available. What is going to be available are these wing guys like TJ Warren, a 3 and potentially D guy if he gets into the Celtics system. I think he'll really, bolster what that team needs when one of Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum is on the bench. So, not a big name, but I think a guy like TJ Warren would really help them, and he might be able to be available at the right price.
See, Colin's answer is too good. I want to trade my answer for Colin's answer. I think that is the right answer. Otto Porter Jr. is a name that was given to me by a former GM that I talked to earlier today. And Colin's right. This is not an organization that has a lot of cap room and maneuverability, and they don't need to. Despite the heartache that they experienced yesterday, they are, Jeremy, you're right, going to be in a position certainly to make many deep runs in the postseason, and it won't be shocking if they get back to the finals a time or more in the years ahead. The MLE, the mid-level exception, is going to be where they're going to have to turn for whatever kind of small impact, maybe a little more depth on the wing at the forward position. Warren's a great addition. Otto Porter Jr., who they obviously got a very close look at over the last week and a half, is a guy who outplayed his contract in Golden State. So it just sort of depends where he wants to be and what the market dictates for him. But those are the kind of moves. And again, small calibrations, even though they're not NBA champions, they were obviously close for this Celtics team, not major moves. They're not able to, and they frankly don't need to.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that you kind of look at too. When you're that close, you just miss out. You kind of look at the deeper end of your roster to see kind of, hey, what are we missing here? So when you look at trade possibilities for the Celtics, I mean, they don't really have a lot of options here, do they, Bill?
No, they don't. I mean, they're handcuffed. I mean, the snarky answer, right, if you want to give the snarky hot take answers, trade Jason Tatum, he's not a closer. But the reality is Jason Tatum just got remarkable experience, and I think I'm bullish on what he can be in the future. The truth is, and I know we don't talk about human psychology as much in sports, a lot of it's numbers, but these guys, these human beings have to experience sometimes loss and defeat and heartache and these sorts of experiences to understand what it takes to play at this level of pressure against an opponent like Steph Curry and the Warriors. The Celtics are constructed and built the right way. And we saw since, January 22nd or whenever that turnaround began under Ime Udoka after his first year as a head coach with this team, that they are great. They're exceptional defensively. I still think have two stars, superstars, whatever you want Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to be called. Al Horford was a huge addition, and give that front office credit. They don't have the maneuverability or the room, and they frankly need not panic, shouldn't panic. They are constructed properly. They simply had a star in Jason Tatum who wasn't able to play at the level he needed to this series. That's not easy to do. And they ran into a guy named Steph Curry who's broken some hearts and some hopes and dreams of other teams before.
Yeah, Bill's right. The Celtics don't have a ton to trade. The hot take answer is to trade Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Look, that's not happening. These guys are young and have just come off, coming within a couple games of winning the NBA Finals. You look up and down their roster, they just don't have a lot to trade. They do have a giant trade exception, but they're not going to be able to use it unless they get rid of Al Horford, which is clearly not happening. So as Bill said, this Celtics team is constructed well. Maybe they can add a little bit along the fringes, but in terms of trades, they just don't have a lot to offer in order to get someone back of importance.
And as they say, experience is the best teacher. NBA writers Colin Ward-Henninger and Bill Reiter discussing the end of the NBA season and what kind of summer lies ahead for the Warriors and the Celtics, the two finalists this season. In terms of the conversation, as we look at the odds heading towards next season, the Warriors already listed as the favorites at 5-1, but the Celtics are right there, right behind them at 6-1 alongside the Brooklyn Nets. And then you have the dethroned champions, the Milwaukee Bucks, at plus 750. Lakers, by the way, plus 2,200. To win the title. And then, of course, you get some other long shots. Orlando, Sacramento, Houston, Oklahoma City. Oof, 1,000-1.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.